everybody, and welcome back to Carried Away Travels. If this is your first time here, I'm Carrie, and I share helpful travel tips, gear recommendations, itineraries, and more so you can always have the perfect trip. Now, this week I want to share a special travel hack that I use to explore Dublin, Ireland without a car. Now, if you've been following my adventures, you probably already know that I was able to visit Dublin for 2 days back in October of 2023, and we had an absolutely amazing time. But while we were planning the adventures, we ran into one kind of big problem, and that was we did not want to drive. As you probably know, in Ireland, they drive on the left-hand side of the road, and things can get a little intense. I remember as we were driving from the airport to Dublin, our cabbie was like, "Do you see that guy up there? Yeah, he's gonna let me in. He just doesn't know it yet." And then he squeezes this taxi van he's driving into a spot that was way too small for it. I don't even know how he made it happen, but he knew he was gonna shove his way into this spot, and that is not how I drive. All right, I didn't even know it was gonna be like that before we got there, but I knew I did not want to try to drive in a foreign city on the opposite side of the road that I was used to. The obvious alternative would be to get a taxi, but with several days of exploring all over the city, we really didn't want to shell out a ton of euros on taxi rides all over. So I started looking into alternatives. And something that caught my eye was the Big Bus Tours in Dublin. Now, to be entirely honest, I always thought hop-on, hop-off tours were kind of cheesy. I've seen them in different European cities before. If you don't know what they are, basically you buy a ticket and they take you around the city and you can hop on the bus at any stop and then get off at any stop, and it takes you to a lot of the city's highlights. I don't know why I was so against this. I think because I often try to explore things that aren't just the tourist attractions, but I had never done one of these before. But I started to look into it more for Dublin and realized that it was actually a very useful tool. I think the biggest difference when I was looking at the bus tours in Dublin versus any time I'd encountered them before was I took a closer look at the route and realized that even though the bus did drop us off at specific spots, like maybe touristy spots, that didn't mean that we couldn't explore the rest of the city and use the bus to get to different parts of the city as prepaid transportation. So I started looking into the Big Bus Tours a little more closely, and I was very impressed with what we got for the price. Now, they have a few different levels of tickets that vary by the number of days as well as how many tours are included. The most basic ticket is the Discover ticket, which is for 24 hours. You can hop on, hop off whenever you want. It has a live guide and even includes a guided walking tour. And on their website, that starts at just 32 euros. We ended up getting the Essential ticket because it included 48 hours of transportation around the city for just 40 euros a person. It also included a night tour of Dublin, which I thought was really awesome. And then if you want something a little more involved, you can also get the Explorer ticket or the Discover ticket, which include tours to the coastal area of Howth or the Guinness Storehouse. I like that there are a lot of options, so you can pick the ticket that fits best for your visit. In our case, we were going to be in Dublin for 2 days, and I really didn't want to add on a lot of scheduled tours. So the Explorer ticket was just perfect for us with the 2 days of transportation and the one additional tour. I also really liked that Big Bus Tours has an app that allows you to activate your tickets whenever you want. Since they're 48-hour, 24-hour tickets, you can activate that ticket at the time you want, and it can also update you on where the buses are along the route, so you know how long you'll be waiting at any given stop, if you have time to explore, or maybe it'll be quicker to go to a different spot instead. Now, I have to admit, I have always wanted to ride on a double-decker bus, and I did not realize at first that the Big Bus Tours were double-decker, so I was so excited to climb up to that second story, that open air seating, and just get such a cool view of Dublin from way up there. It really brought a new perspective to the tour, And I did notice a big difference in what I noticed from the bus versus what I noticed on foot walking through the same area. Each bus driver provides commentary as you drive around town, so we learned a lot of really interesting things about Dublin and its landmarks. More than anything, we learned that Dublin used to have a window tax, and that is why the windows get smaller and smaller the higher the buildings go. So some of the facts were repeated, but we did enjoy all of our commentators. Some of them had a lot of personality, and it really added a fun element to the tour. The Big Bus Dublin runs on the Red Route, which takes you past 25 of Dublin's most popular landmarks. This includes Trinity College, the Guinness Storehouse, the Dublin Castle, and a lot of other really interesting areas. I did like that we learned about the actual landmark when we arrived and all the areas in between with the different commentary too. There's some very interesting neighborhoods, and I was really interested in knowing the history, especially in parts where maybe the architecture was a little older or newer, and you could find out why that was. Because of where we were staying at the Ivy Garden Hotel, we ended up getting on and off at stop 7 quite a bit, which, as you can imagine, meant there was some repetitive information, but I liked that we could hop on the bus within a 5-minute walk of our hotel. That was super convenient to me. And while the bus does take a little bit of time to go around the route, it doesn't take too long, so we could get to the destinations we wanted in just a few minutes and then jump back off the bus and get back on whenever and really wherever we wanted to. This just ended up being such a convenient option for us. One of the very first stops we hopped off at was the Dublin Castle, and we didn't actually realize it was right in the city center until we were pulling up on the bus, and we're like, oh, we wanted to go here, let's go. And so we hopped off the bus and we explored that. The second day we were there, we started our adventures at Trinity College because I wanted to tour the library, and they had a stop right outside Trinity College. So we just hopped on the bus when we were done, and we took that back to St. Stephen's Green and did some shopping in that area. And then we were able to hop on at a different location to finish the tour. I liked that we could just get on or off wherever we wanted and pick up the tour whenever it was convenient. So like I said, we got the 48-hour pass, and so we were able to break up this bus tour into 2 days of exploring, and we did eventually finish the whole route on day 2. We decided just to sit and explore it to the end, and when we were done, we had about an hour before the night tour started that was included with our 48-hour ticket. Now, when I bought these tickets, I didn't actually realize it came with a night tour, and I was so excited because this just sounded so fun, and Dublin really comes alive at night, especially on a weekend. We went on a long weekend, and I can tell you, they like to party till 2, 3, 4 a.m. So I knew this would probably be a very interesting tour, and I was so glad we did it. The bus picked us up outside of the headquarters, and it was a 60-minute tour to see more of Dublin's best highlights. Now, some of them overlapped with the day tour, but the night tour specifically focused on landmarks and monuments that looked cool at night. So, for example, we went over some bridges that were lit up all beautifully. There were different buildings that had colored lights shining on them, or buildings with lots of like twinkle lights hanging down the side. So it was a really fun experience. We saw a lot of really cool, vibrant colors, and it was different from the daytime tour, which I appreciated, especially since we've been riding the bus for 2 days. Now, the buses run from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. So keep in mind, this does not work as a transportation option at night. We ended up taking a couple 40-minute walks, but it was really fun. Again, Dublin really comes alive at night. It wasn't a scary walk at all. It was a very fun way to see more of this city, and that was just because where the bus route ended was a decent ways from our hotel, but we knew that going into it. If we'd wanted to, we could have taken a taxi for a few euros, but we wanted to add that walking element into our experience. Just keep that in mind. Now, something else you want to think about is Dublin is known for being rather rainy. So just be prepared. You may want to bring a rain jacket with you, or just know that you may not always be able to ride on the open air second story if the rain is really bad. In our case, we lucked out and it only rained once during our entire trip, which I think is pretty unheard of. But you'll want to be prepared for that. The buses can get kind of full, especially that second story, but you can always wait for a different bus if you want a better seat. Just so you know, you can buy tickets right from the bus driver when you are in Dublin. You just go up to the stop and tell them you want to purchase a ticket. But tickets are cheaper if you buy them online first. It'll save you several euros per ticket, and they're often running deals. Like, for example, right now, they're running deals with their base tickets where a child can ride free with any adult ticket. This applies to kids ages 5 to 15, I believe, and that's usually 18 euros. So you're saving like 18 euros per child. Now, we didn't have any kids with us, but I mean, that's a pretty great deal, especially for a family tour. Overall, I think this was just such a great way to explore Dublin without having to spend a lot of money or rent a car. It was honestly such a big stress reliever for me just to know that I could hop on the bus and know that, yes, maybe it would take a little extra time to get to my destination, but that I would get there and not have to do anything else about it. And the whole time you are seeing Dublin. You're seeing all these different facets of it that maybe you wouldn't go to on your own. There are a few districts we went through that I hadn't seen in any of my research, but I really enjoyed driving through and learning a little more about. And so I thought this was just such a fun addition to our Dublin itinerary, and it's definitely making me consider Big Bus Tours for more cities around the world. And that is my full review of Big Bus Tours Dublin. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, or if you have any questions, please drop those in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. I will get back to you as soon as possible. And if you're interested in more of our Dublin adventures and to Belfast as well, we did a day trip from Dublin to Belfast. I have videos about all of those on my YouTube channel. I'd love if you check those out. I also have written blog posts for every adventure on my blog at cochranewriting.com, including this one. If you want to read more, I'd encourage you to go check that out. That's easy to save and reference for later as well if you don't want to watch a YouTube video again to refresh yourself on any information. Thank you so much for coming by to watch this video, and I hope you'll be back soon. Don't forget to like, save, and subscribe before you go, and I wish you many happy travels.